Today we are going to see few more topics on the storage accounts, okay? And if we are able to successfully complete, then we'll go with the next topic, okay? So the next topic which I thought we'll cover is the DNS, private DNS zones and all. We will cover, and once that is done, probably we'll either pick databases or load balancers, okay? That is what we are going to do. And once that those two are completed, then we will be left out with uh, some of the other services like Azure security, Entra ID, okay, and monitoring, okay. Those two areas will cover at the end, okay. That's the plan. So let's continue. Um, so till yesterday, we have seen tables, queues, containers, and all. Okay. And within the containers, I thought like we have to cover few more topics. Okay. Like though we covered the core stuff, but there are like few other things which you should be aware of. Okay. The first thing is like we all saw like how you can put data and all, right? So we can just create a separate container and I can upload files basically. And I'll just put some files. Let's go to browse file and let me put this upload. So all these things we saw, but in real time, right? So eventually, like once you start dumping data, it is going to grow. Okay, there should be a mechanism using which you can do a cleanup, right? Basically, the archival process. So that is where you have something called the lifecycle management. Okay, so if you go here, you can basically tell what would happen to your blobs after some number of days, which you can define here. So let's say I want to delete older blob. I can just say, and if you want, you can apply this rule to all the blobs in your storage account or limit to a specific blob. Okay, and then this can be applied to different types of blob and append blob. And snapshot and versioning, which we haven't seen, we're going to see this, but this is more of the rule. Once you set this, right? So depending on like what condition, like based on last modified or last created, I can set like more than 1 day, delete the blob. Okay, I can just add an entry here, which means like depending on whatever threshold or the retention period you want, you can set up. So let's say you are storing all your SQL database backups and all, right? Let's say if it is pushed to the Azure storage container, you can set the retention. Okay. Accordingly, your data would would be moved. Okay, that's what you get with the lifecycle management. Okay, this is one thing which you should be aware when you work in real time. Okay. Now let's go to the container and let's go to the folder and let's see what this file contains, right? I'll go to the edit and I will just add some more text. Okay, this is a test message and let's save it. Okay, we have enabled, okay, we just added some more contents. Now what I can do is, okay, basically we can create a snapshot, okay, which will again be a read-only copy of your file. Okay, so what I'll do, if I just say create snapshot and let's go to the view snapshot, and you see, right, there is a snapshot. In case, let's say I have done changes, okay, let's say something is gone and I have done the changes. Someone has overwritten the changes whatever we had, and using the snapshot we can actually recover. Okay, so you have an option to promote. Okay, which means this file will be promoted as your actual file. As soon as I click on this, let's go back and see. If I go to edit, you will see this data. This is one layer. Okay, this is for snapshot. Again, You also have something called versioning, okay, which can be enabled, which is something you see here. If you see here, the moment we uploaded, okay, if you look at this file, right? Okay, I cannot see this directly. Okay, what we can do is if you want to view this, let's go to the storage account and we will go to the security, not security. I wanted to go to the configuration and I want to enable anonymous access and let's change the settings because we just want to see the files. That's it. That's the whole idea. And this is something which we have seen in our previous class as well. Okay, let me refresh the page. So I hope you would be very well aware of this process what we are doing. Okay, we just want to try and access that content from a browser. Okay, like for the versioning you have separate, I mean you can get a separate SAS token and URL also. Okay, so that is what I am trying to do. Let's go and do view version. Okay, and let's try using this URL. We'll see. Okay, I can use this from CLI. That's fine. Okay, now what we will do is instead of doing that approach, let's go here and we'll remove this again. Okay, I'm going to remove this content and save, which means again our data is gone. And this time, instead of snapshot, we will recover from the versioning. Okay. For example, like if I just go with last modified, right? So it should be this one. Okay. Probably let's try and see what we have here. We'll say make this as a current version, or we can also download. Probably I can do this. Okay. Let's download since it is just a text file. We will just download. Okay, is there a pop-up which is blocking? No. Okay. For some reason, download. Okay. So this has the files, right? If you remember, our current version is not having the data. Okay. So that's why this is marked as a previous version. Now, what I can do is like I can just say make this as a current version and using this copy versioning option, we are able to retrieve our data back. Okay, this would be helpful for all your code or text related files. But if you want to take a snapshot of your backup files, etc., that's when you go for snapshot. And we also saw like how you can create these snapshots. Okay, so where you get all these options is, okay, I'll just go to the storage account page again and let's say create. If you go to the data protection tab, right? So this is where you get all these options, okay? So enable point in time restoration for containers. This also has point in time restore, okay? Which means like maximum restore point, it is 6 days ago. Like till that point you can have it, but for this to work you need to enable something called blob versioning and blob change feed. Okay, so it's going to continuously keep track of all the changes what you do to your blob. Using that you can do a point in time restore. This is similar to what we have in the database, like backups and all what you take, right? Full backup, differential backup, log backup and all, which log backup especially helps with the point in time recovery, right? So that is how they have it for the blob. Okay, again you can say like for how long you want these data to be retained, like this is by default taking 7 days. So if you enable all these things you will get those options in that page. Okay, but I'm not going to create this right now, but I wanted to do something else. So what I will do is I'll just say az demo n0201. We'll just give some random number. It's like 10th of February. 01 is just a number which I added. This time, okay, what I will do is I will pick East Asia maybe. Okay. Or not even East Asia. Why we should go there, right? So let's go with South India. And I wanted to use geo-redundant storage. Okay. And let's go with restall as defaults. And I'm not going to make any change. Let's go and create this storage container. So we have seen the lifecycle management, snapshot, versioning so far. Okay. Now what we have done is so far, whatever storage account we have created, all those were like locally redundant. Now we have created something called geo redundant. I am going to show you where your other copy is going to reside. Okay. So how you can find if a storage account is geo redundant or not. If yes, where your secondary is going. Okay. Those kind of details we are going to see. Well, probably once this is created, we will go and check. Okay. Now, if you see here, I think here you see in this replication status, you see right geo-redundant storage. Okay, read access geo-redundant storage. So where you can see to which location your data is getting replicated is something you will find under redundancy. Okay, if you go here, it will say what is the primary location and what is the secondary location. So in this case, my primary location is South India and secondary is Central India. But if you remember, when we created the storage account, did we get any place or any prompt to define what is going to be our secondary location? Did anyone notice? Did we define where our secondary location is going to be? Yes, no? We didn't, right? Or did we? Or you want
Central
to
India.
share? Yeah, Central India is the location. I mean, we created this. Okay, let me go here. We created this storage account in South India region. Okay, this is the storage account I'm talking about. But how did it pick? Okay, when okay, let me tell you what I'm asking. Okay, this is the place where we define. So here I I have chosen geo redundant storage. Okay, but this is the only location I define on what region my storage account is going to sit. But nowhere I'm telling where my other geography I have to select or the region where the data has to be replicated. Okay, so I'm asking how come Azure picked this?
It is taken care by Azure. Whatever the region nearby, it is going to select it. That
Okay,
is what I'm thinking.
but do you think that's the right way to do it?
Since the Azure is having full control, then they have option to do that.
Okay, okay. So what happens is, okay, this is not something which they do it randomly, okay? So you have something called Azure Region Pair, okay? So accordingly, for example, if I take India region alone, right? Let's take this. I'll search. So in India itself, you have Central India, South India, West India. Okay. So you cannot create a redundancy or your replication region between South India and West India. Okay. Every time it is going to be either with Central India and South India or West India with Central India. Okay. In these two combinations. So you cannot have a redundancy between South India and West India because those two are not in the regional pair. Okay, so there are like certain criterias which has to be met for a cloud provider to decide. Okay, this would be a better location to keep as a DR option in case of any natural disaster or any events happen, right? So there should be a certain limit which they see. Okay, that is what you can find it from the Azure region list. Okay. For example, if I search for Central India, okay. So you see here, this basically has paired region. Okay. In this case, it is South India. Okay. That is what this indicates, and that is the reason if I go here, so for let's search for South India, right? For South India, paired region is Central India. Okay. So South India data center is in Chennai location. Similarly, like that's how they choose. Okay. In case if you are wondering how this is done, this is where like you should know what is the Azure paired regions. Okay. This is something which you can search and you can find it. So based on that, they choose. But you might be thinking, okay, let's say I don't want to keep it in any of the region in the India. My DR should be in completely a different geography. Like I want to pick a different region. Can I do it? Uh, Not with the redundancy which they give at the storage like account level, but instead you have something called object replication. Okay, basically you can replicate your blob to a different region. Okay, let's quickly check that. If I go to this, so in case of real time and all, right, all your DRs, right, the backups would be replicated to a different DR region altogether. Okay, so in during those cases you can actually go and use this. If you're storing your backups in containers, right? Definitely there will be discussion like what happens if my entire region is down. Obviously, like so there are different layers, right? There is a funny meme as well. Like there is a meme saying like my server is crashed, and manager would say, okay, go and recover, and they would ask where are your backups? It is in the server which got crashed. Okay, so to overcome that, they keep the backup outside of the server. But now, let's say you have kept the backup outside of the server. Let's say this is a separate service, but still there are chances this whole region could have an outage, right? So to overcome those things, that's when you replicate it to a different region altogether. Okay. What we will do is let's create another storage account, and this time I'll just name it as 05, and we'll pick East Asia, or let's go outside of Asia only, right? I'll pick Malaysia West just to show, okay, this is going to work. And rest all like I'll go with the defaults. I'm not worried much. Now, all I want is like I just want to show you, okay, we have a storage account to which we are going to replicate the data. Let's quickly see that. Once this is created, right? Probably we let's see if we have a container here. There is no container. Let's add. I'll just say data, and we'll create the container, and let's upload some files here. I don't know like when I created this, but we are using this random file a lot. Maybe I'll have some meaningful file. Anyways, this is the file we have. Okay, this got created. Now what we will do is let's go to the, so if you see this is the primary. Okay, from here we are going to replicate it to a storage container called 05. Okay, what you can do is go to the object replication, create a replication role. You have to define your storage account. It can also reside on a different subscription as well. Okay, so in our case it's the same subscription. 05 is the destination storage account name, and let's also enable replication monitoring. Okay, just for us to see. And this is our source container, and I should also define the destination container, which we don't have it. What I will do, I will go and create a container called test. Okay, this is in place. Okay, let's refresh because it will not detect though we created the container. Better option is to refresh. Okay, let's go and do this data. and this is the destination container. So you have different options here. Okay, you can set whether you want to replicate the objects which are going to be created newly, or you want everything to be replicated. Probably I'll go with everything. Okay, and let's create this rule. We'll just wait for this to finish. And again, like you don't have a direct control, like on what frequency it is going to check and replicate the data. Okay, but there is an option. Okay, maybe let me see if I can show you. So let's create a, okay, probably for premium tier account, you have an option, okay, where you can say like what rate the data refresh happens, okay. That is something I don't see here. Probably we'll create one more, right? So that's fine. But let that be in place. But while that is in place, we'll create one more just to see if that option is visible. Okay. What I, oh, okay. This is for the geo priority replication. Okay. Um, this is geo replication within this blob. So I don't know if this is for um this geo-redundant replication which they do. Okay, this is something probably I also have to check, like what at what rate the data is replicated. Okay, I don't have that information now, but this is what I was trying to say, but this is for a different reason. This is for a redundancy which they give for the storage account which we choose. Okay, and this replication would take some time. Probably we'll leave this as it is. Probably at the later part we'll again come here and check. Okay, probably one more time, let's quickly check if we have something. That's good. If not, no. Okay, we don't have anything yet. Probably I'll keep this as it is. At the end of the session we will definitely come and check. Okay, and nothing else is available here, right? So that's fine. We'll check this at the end. Okay, I just wanted to tell you, okay, this option is there. This is something which you might see people using it in real time, especially to set up your DR and all. Okay, so with this, we talked about most of the things on the storage account side, except one topic, which is the file share. Okay, this is what we are going to see. So in general, like what is file share? Like you would have heard this term a lot in general if you are working in IT side. Like what is a file share?
Kind of, you can share the files and folders, or kind of everybody can access.
Okay, okay, right. So if you remember, there is two things, right? One they call it as a SMB, another one is NFS. Anyone know what is the difference between an SMB and an NFS? Or what is SMB, what is NFS? Probably I should ask this first. No.
NFS, I think
Okay.
it's a shared storage, network shared storage. It's
Okay. Okay.
where we can use in the clustering, like in SQL Server.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Any other opinion? Okay. Let's keep it simple. What is the
Yeah.
full form of NFS and SMB? Okay, I'll tell you. So SMB is nothing but server message log. Okay. And NFS is like network file system. So both solve the same purpose, but you can think of like your machine. Okay, think them like your machine is going to use a different language to talk to SMB and different language to talk to NFS. Just think it in a simple terms, like both solve the same purpose. Okay, but you can think of like two different languages which machine understands. Okay, but in Azure, okay, the SMB protocol, again, there are different clients which offers this kind of services. But in case of Azure, like SMB is mostly used for Windows, though it works on Linux as well, but SMB is used for Windows, and NFS is used for Linux. NFS doesn't work on Windows. Okay, so that is one key thing. And if you're using SMB, it still works on both. Okay, you just remember that. And there are like different, I mean, authentications and all which they support each of them. Okay, for example, SMB will support Azure AD or using keys, but whereas NFS, it's going to work via the private endpoint which we discussed yesterday. Okay, so that communication will happen via the private endpoint. Okay, that is another thing which you have to keep in mind. And apart from that, like SMBs are going to be like very straightforward, which you can use it. Okay, let's go and create one. um, Probably we'll create a file share. We'll see how you can make use of it. Let's say I will just say this as a dev file share. Okay, and you don't have direct control on the IO, maximum IO, but depending on your tier which you choose, right? If you're choosing a premium storage account, there are like different options which you get, which I'll show you shortly. But this one is a standard tier. Okay, when I say that tier, I am referring to this one, performance. Okay, this is with the standard. This is what you get. Okay, transaction optimized. Again, there are different access tiers for your file share as well. Let's go with this. And if you see, maximum capacity is 100 TB, which is like a big number. And let's go to the backup. You can also schedule the backup. Okay, we haven't seen about recovery service vault, backup vault, and all, which we'll see later. So I'll just uncheck this. We're not going to talk about backup. Now, I told you there are like two types of protocols, right? SMB and NFS. But if you see, we didn't get any option to choose whether this is going to be an NFS or SMB, right? So it is just giving the defaults. But we'll see how you can differentiate and how you can get NFS also. Let's first look at the SMB part, then I'll show you that. Now, our file share is created, okay? And what we can do is, I also have a VM which I have already launched. Let's log into that VM and we will use that one for this demo. Okay, though I can also run it locally. Okay, still it is going to work, but just for the sake of the demo, I thought we will use this because anyways I'm going to use this VM for the upcoming demo. Okay, that's why I wanted to connect to this VM and keep the session. Okay, well, this is going right. I'll also show you like how you can connect in the local, right? It's just a plugin, right? So SMB, you can attach it anywhere where you have access. So here, if you see, they give the instructions like for you to mount it on Linux, also on Windows. Okay. You can decide what drive you're going to define. Probably I'll just pick W. And the authentication method, it can be via Active Directory or Microsoft Entra. We'll go with the storage account key, and I'll just say show key. This is the script which we have to run. Okay, what I'll do is I'll open PowerShell ISC here, and let's also log into the server. Let's keep this also handy, and let me close this. Similarly, I'll open ISC in the server as well. Okay. So this is my local. Let's paste this. So if you look at this command, right? It's doing a testnet connection to this endpoint. Basically, this is the endpoint for the file server. Okay. So if I go to the storage account, let this be. Okay. I want to show you something here. There is a place where you see all the endpoints. Okay, let me see if I can get that configuration. Okay, this one. So there are like different services which storage account provides. Okay, so each of the service have their own endpoint. For example, we saw a lot about Blob. Okay, if you look at this, it will be storage account dot blob dot core dot net. If it is a file server, it's going to be file.core.net. If it is queue, it's going to be queue.order.core.windows. Similarly, tables. This is for data lake storage, which they call it as DFS. Okay. So why I am telling you is, if someone is giving you an URL, by looking at the URL itself, you would be able to recognize, okay, what kind of service they are referring to. Okay. So each of the service have their own endpoint. That's what I wanted to say. So with that, let's go back here. SMB works on this port, okay, 445. And here we are just mapping this endpoint, and there is a key which gets passed. Nothing much actually. They're just calling a PS driver and file system, and we are doing a mapping. Okay, let's run this, and we'll see if it works. So there are chances, if you are trying in your laptop, there are chances this might not work if you have any sort of antivirus or something which is in your machine. It can block this access. Okay, so that is something you have to see if you are trying it on local. Because for me, in my other laptop, it didn't work. Okay, I realized, okay, there is a problem with my antivirus, and it was blocking that access. That's why, like, I also had a VM. Okay, in case if here it didn't work, I thought I'll show it here, because here this is an Azure VM again, and let's run it. Here I tested and it did work. Hopefully it works now as well. Let's open File Explorer, and if you see, this is the drive which got mapped. Okay, now if I just put, I can put anything. Okay, let's say I create data, and probably let's save the script only, whatever we have here. I'll go to Z, and let's say file share script, and let's save this. Now this is in our file share. So what I can do is, I know like we did the mapping in our local as well, right? Let's go and check. Okay, it is not working. I have to turn on, but let's not do it now. I don't want anything to break in my system for now. But what I wanted to show you is, this file, whatever we have uploaded in the drive, is accessible to any computer which is using that share. Okay. So is anyone anyone wants to try this? I can give you this code. You can just run this from your laptop. You should be able to see the file which I have placed it here. Anyone, you just open PowerShell and try it, if at all, if anyone is in front of system and can do it. Just tell me if anyone is trying, so that I'll wait, or else we'll move on. I'll show you from the portal only. Trying, okay. Yeah, thanks, Anand. Just tell me what you get. Okay, while Anand is trying, if You guys have any questions? You can ask. Is it working, Anand? Like, or it's failing? Okay, while you are doing that, I will just show something here only. Waiting for response. Okay. So you're doing it from your office laptop or personal laptop? If it is office, most likely it will get blocked. So because they have antivirus softwares and all. Okay, let's go here and browse. So you see, this is the script, okay, which we have put from the server. Okay, okay. So now, if you open File Explorer, you should be able to see the file if the network discovery is turned on. Because in my laptop, I just realized that was not on. But if that is turned on, you should see like how I'm seeing here. If you go to File Explorer, go to under this PC, you will see network. Okay. Okay, wait. Again, here it is gone or what? Let's try here. No, I don't know what this does. Okay, it is back. I am still able to see it. Fine. Anyways, but you all got it, right? So how you can use it. So you can just have a custom script. Basically, you can take the connect script and attach it anywhere. This would be helpful for your migrations and all. Like you plug in this share in a drive server where you want to copy the files. Then you can just detach it from that server and then take it to whichever is your destination and then use it. So here also you have snapshots and backups, okay, which can be used. Again, backup, I'm not going to do it now because that is a separate thing because I have to tell you what is recovery service vault, etc., which we'll see later. But snapshot, like how we did for a blob, you can also do it here. Back up my code. If I do, this would back up the thing. And if at all something got deleted, I can go here and download and then put it in my share. Let's do it. No, what I will do, I'll delete this. And so let's go to dev. Right now, if I go to browse, there is no data. Let's go to the snapshot. And from here, I can just say restore. When I do a restore, I can say restore as a copy and rename or overwrite original file. Let's go with this. And if I go to the file share, browse, I should see my file back. Same here as well. Okay. So this is where snapshots are helpful and backups are something which you can schedule it. Okay. So that is on the file server. So I told you I will also show you the NFS part, right? What we will do is let's create one more storage account at least. Let me close this. I don't need that. This time, what we will do is we'll go with the premium. Okay. If you're going with premium, you would tell what kind of workload this is going to run because depending on the tier, you get only those specific service. Okay, I think Azure storage. account uh, there and service. Okay, there is a mm, article where they define what kind of service you get for what kind of things. Okay, I thought I will show that. Okay, anyways, I don't think I have it handy. Let's see. This is what Azure account premium was a standard. There is a nice table they have actually. So that is what I'm trying to look for. Which okay, this is the table. Okay, this is available here, right? So for example, okay, if you select premium block, you get only the blob storage. Okay. If you choose premium file share, you get Azure file service alone. Similarly, if you choose premium page blob, you get page blobs only. Okay. And again, with this, you have LRS and ZRS, which is the for the redundancy. That's why you have to choose what service you are going to use. If I choose blob and later if I want to use a file share in this storage account, I cannot use it because you will see, like in this case, let's go with file share and we are going to create it. Let's see what happens. Okay, we will see a different window here. What we will do is rest all. I will go with defaults. Okay, let's go and create it. Create. So this would be the last demo on the storage account. Once this is done, we'll go to a different topic. Let's wait for this. 0008. Okay, go to resource. Now, if you see under data storage, I don't see files, tables, queue, containers. Okay, that is because we have chosen premium, and that's why this are specialized for the respective workloads. Now, if you see, we get a whole different option, right? If for a file share. So with premium tier, you get an option to choose what kind of protocol you're going to use. Okay, and this is where you can choose NFS. Okay, and rest all options are same. Probably I'm not going to go with the demo of this right now. You can explore it. Okay, if needed, I will show it to you later. But I want you guys to try it out this one. Okay, but this is the place. Okay, if you go with the premium tier, you can get an option to choose what protocol it is. That's the advantage you get with the premium. If at all, if you're looking for a NFS type of workload, which you wanted to attach it to the Linux operating systems. Okay, any questions? No. Okay, fine. So then let's move on. I'll just anyone else have any questions? If not, then I'll move on. Okay, I take it as no. Fine. So let's move on. No questions. Okay, thank you, Bharat. Fine. So let's move on. The next thing what I wanted to discuss is DNS. Okay. So what is DNS? Anyone wants to try?
You mean domain name server?
Yeah.
So it basically records the informations about the kind of your host name and an IP address for
Okay.
communicating. There are
Mm-hmm.
forward and reverse lookup there for
Mm-hmm.
changing the IP. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. Vice versa. So, name to IP resolution and vice versa. So this name to IP resolution is something which, okay. So in case of Windows, okay, let me go here. C drive, Windows. I think it is system 32. Eight. Drivers, etc. Host. Okay. So, just once. So I can make an entry here as well and get that right. So I can say probably what we will do is let's open command prompt. Okay, I'll say ping or let's take IP config. Okay, this is my IP. Okay, what I can do is I can do something like this saying uh, Naveen dot local and so for example if I do ns lookup and this is what we are getting. Okay, if I do ns lookup naveen dot local, right now it cannot find. Okay, let's save this and see if it is still, or let me do it like this to ping. I'm just seeing like how I can show you the other names. So basically with the etc host file also, okay, you can get that resolution. Okay, that is what I wanted to show, but wait, I don't know if this is not getting in effect. Let's open a new command prompt. We'll do ping. Okay, let's do a ping for, excuse me. Okay, it is resolving, right? So this is what I was referring. So right now, I'm able to get this resolving with the entry on the host file itself. Okay. So do you think this is the only requirement which DNS is solving, or it is something else? Ah, sorry. Okay, let me ask this. Okay. From the browser, let's say if I hit google.com, okay. So what all happens like behind the scenes to get the data to our web page? We are typing google.com. Okay, if I hit enter, we are getting this page. But behind the scenes, there are like a whole bunch of different things which happens. Any guess? Okay, you don't have to give exact thing, but what you think will be happening? Anyone wants to guess? Okay, fine. In the interest of time, I will tell you. Okay. Let's open Notepad. So
This is what
first,
you said, right? Like last time, the IP is going to get into the public IP, then it is going to connect where
correct.
the destination IP.
Yeah, that is to go and look at the internet. Okay. So to the internet, your request will go via the public IP. But what in internet is like a ocean, right? So where it is going to go, what it is going to do is something we are going to see now. Okay. So from the browser, let's say browser, we type google.com. Okay. Now what happens? This is going to check your local browser cache. Okay. Basically, machines want the IP address. It will not be able to tell just by this .google.com. This is the page I need. Okay. This server, obviously, this is will be running in some server. Which server it has to identify? There should be an IP which is mapped to this website, right? So it will first look at the browser cache. Do I know like what is the address of this website? Then what will happen is if browser cache is not happening, then it will go to the OS cache. Okay. So if here also if it is not there, then this OS cache and all this is where like it's going to check locally the host file, whatever entry we made, right? It's going to check there. Then what happens? Okay, if there is no details available in the local cache or the browser, then it goes to the DNS resolver. Okay, there is something called DNS resolver. Okay, this is something which will be at your ISP level. Okay, if you're connecting via your Wi-Fi and all, this is going to put the request. Okay, I have a request. Okay, telling my user is looking for this address. What is the IP address of this website? Then what happens? This DNS resolver will then um, submit, or this is going to reach to your internet. Okay, and this is going to go to something called root DNS server. Okay, so your root DNS server will tell, okay, it's going to ask where this domain sits. In this case, domain is going to be like your .com. Okay, not google.com. It's going to ask the root DNS. Okay, where is the this .com domain sitting to? It's going to ask. There is something called TLD server. Okay, ask TLD server where is .com. Okay, so what is TLD? Any guess? Have you heard about this term TLD? Okay, I'll tell. No. Okay, so you have something called top level.
Domain.
Yeah, top level domain. Okay, so TLD is nothing but top level domain, which is like examples are like .com. You can think of then .org, then .net. Like these are the top level domains. Like this, I think there are like some set of domains. Okay, like .in or .edu. Like this, these are the top level domains. It's going to ask, okay, where is this domain? Again, this will not have the IP address, but this will tell where this data is available. Okay, the TLD server will not store the IP address of the website. Now, this TLD server will contain something. Okay, this is going to tell for Google. In this case, it is google.com, right? For google.com, what is my name server? Okay, there is something called name server. For example, it can be like name server 1 or name server 2 dot google.com. Like this, you will have name server. Your name server is the one which is going to have the data, okay, which will tell, okay, for Google, you can just reach out to this IP, something like this. Then this request will traverse back and go back to the user browser, and then your browser will hit that IP, and that's how you get the data. Okay, so in between there is something called authoritative server, okay, which will tell, okay, this is my IP. For example, if I go here, I don't know if that is available. Let's do NS lookup. Okay, I have cleared the screen, right? Let's go here. NS lookup. You don't see a authoritative server here. For example, let's do google.com. Non-authoritative answer. So usually like there will be a server which is going to tell, okay, where this DNS details are available. But going back to this notepad, right? So this is what happens behind the scene when we ask, your authoritative DNS will go and tell. Now, what we are going to do is, for this to happen, again, this is at high level. If we take the same concept to Azure, we have two different types of services. Okay, one is a DNS zone, other one is a private DNS zone. Okay, so we are going to look at the private DNS zone today. Okay, private DNS zone is nothing but which is the DNS entries, whatever we do, it is going to be local to that network. Okay. So I would take another 5 or 10 more minutes. You all are okay? So that we just complete this. Okay.
Okay, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Got it. So whatever we saw, right? All these things are going to happen locally within our network. Okay. So in case of your company and all, you might have seen there are some websites which will work only from your company network. Okay. If you try it from your laptop, it's not going to work. Something like that we are going to set up. Okay. Now, for doing this setup, okay, I have two VMs. The Windows VM is something which I have connected, okay, and there is also a Linux VM which I have, which is VM2, and this is not having any public IP, but this is another VM which we have in the same network. Now, we are going to host a website in our VM2, and instead of accessing it via this IP, we are going to have a URL which will be accessible within this network. Okay, that is what we are going to see. Now let's go and create a private DNS zone. Okay, and I'm creating under lab resource group. What we will do is I'll name this domain as azurelab.com. Okay, or we'll say azurelab.local. This is going to be our DNS name. Okay, and I don't want to edit anything here, and I'm not going to link anything here. Okay, we'll do it in the at the later part. Let's go and create our private DNS zone. Okay, this won't take much time, max to a minute or two. While this is going on, what I will do is I'll also connect to the other VM. Okay, let's take SSH. I'll give my user ID and hit enter. And let's put the password. Done. So what we will do is this is a Ubuntu based machine. Okay. So how you can know what kind of operating system you are running is, so there is a for any Linux platform, right? You can do something like etc OS release. Okay, if you run this command, this is going to tell you what kind of platform you are running. Okay, it is cat etc OS release. So for our case, it is Ubuntu. What I will do is I'll just do sudo apt update. I'm just refreshing the catalog, and then I'm going to install Nginx. Okay, that is just another application. Okay, which we can test it. Let this finish, and I'll just say apt install Nginx, and I'll say yes, and we'll keep it simple. I'm not going to have any custom page, etc. Once this is installed, we are going to access this with the IP. Okay, I'll just say confirm, continue. Okay, fine. Let's close this, and this is done. So what I can do is 10.0.0.5. If I hit, okay, this is the Nginx application which we have installed. As of now, we are accessing it with the IP. And I have, okay, let's go here only, right? What I'll do is I'll type host name. So the host name is VM2. Okay. Now, if I type VM2 here, how many of you think it's going to work? Of IP, I am giving VM2. No, okay, let's try. It's going to do a search only, right? So yeah, that is not an address at all. Okay, so let's go back here. This is done. We have I mean, we have seen a glimpse of like what this records are when we discussed about the private endpoint. But we'll see in demo. Okay, this time we are going to add our records and see it. Now let's go here. Okay, I'll show you again in case if you have missed. It's private endpoint, I mean private DNS zone, and within that we are going to add our record. Okay, I am going to say this is the domain which we have. We have to say like what is going to be our website name. I'll just say nginx dot azure dot local. Okay, that's going to be our website. Okay, and I'll say it's going to be a record. There are different set of records which are available for your DNS service. Whatever we are seeing today, it is a record, and this is the TTL. Okay, time to live, for how many hours this will be valid in case if it is stored in cache and all. Now here I will be defining the IP address. Okay, of our server. Let's say 0. Okay, this is the IP address, and this is going to be our site. Now we have added this record. If I go back, okay, let me just move this, edit. So for this website, our request has to resolve. Okay, let's see. Right now it is not working because we haven't mapped our virtual network. If you remember, while creating the private DNS zone, there was a page where you can define what network it is going to be. We haven't done it. So I'll just say lab private network. Okay. And here, let's go and select the network. Right now, I am not enabling this auto registration. I'll just go and create. I'll tell you what that is used for in few more minutes. Let's wait for this to create. So once this network mapping is done, right, then our resolution would start to work. We'll just wait for this to finish. This again won't take much time, at least like what I have seen. Max, it's going to take a minute, and it should be done. Let's see if, okay, now you see, right? When I do like Nginx, okay, actually there is a typo. Nginx, okay, fine. So it's correct only. Nginx.azurelabs.local. And with this thing, we are able to hit. Okay. So this is for the A record. Similarly, there are like other records which you can set. For example, let's see. Okay. Now I'll say backup.azure lab.local. This time I'll pick CNAME. Okay. CNAME is nothing but you are going to set an alias. Okay. For our case, whenever I hit backup.azure lab.local, I want this to be routed to this one. Okay. For those kind of scenarios, you'll use a CNAME. Let's see it in action again. Now you know what is a record, what is a CNAME record. Okay. Let's go and check this. Now I'll use this site. Again, I want this to be routed to our same homepage. Okay. Let's see if it is working. Now, if you see with this also, we are hitting this web page. Okay. That's the use of CNAME record. Similarly, like you have like AAA record, which is for IPv6. So the other records, whatever you see here, right? Probably when we expose it to public, okay, I have my own domain which I have purchased, which I'll show to you in the next session. We are whatever we have seen today, it is like this is accessible internally. We don't have to purchase a domain for this to work. We are just making a private DNS zone entry because, like, if I take the same URL, right, and if I go to my laptop, this is not going to work. Okay, we're not exposing it to a public network. Whatever we are doing, it is local to that network where we have mapped this. Okay, this is the use of private DNS. And one last thing which I wanted to tell you is so if I click on edit, there is something called enable auto registration. Once you do this, right, whatever VMs are in this network, okay, they are going to have this as their DNS name, which means once this is updated, I'll go here and I'll show you. Probably instead of going here, once this is done, you will see some extra records which are getting added and you will know. Okay, probably what we will do is while that is going on, I will open command prompt and I'll just say ns lookup 10.10.0.5. Right now this is the name you see, right? Let's wait for this to finish. This is done, right? Let's go to the records and wait, let's refresh it. I don't know if it got refreshed. Private DNS records. Okay, it is still applying the changes because you will see the registrations for the VMs as well. Okay, basically it will be able to resolve. For example, we had VM2, right? So it will be like VM2 dot Azure Labs dot local. So that kind of naming convention you get once this is registered. So I'm just waiting for that to get in place. Okay, you see, right? VM1. Okay, let's go here and edit. You see, now this is since we have this record in the DNS, let's go and try this. Okay, this is still resolving there, but what I can do is I'll say VM2 dot probably I'll copy it from here only, right? Instead of typing. Let's see if we are able to resolve this one. Okay, if you see, it is getting resolved. This is the IP. So whenever you do troubleshoot these kind of things, right, in the backend DNS server, these are the entries which your system engineers or system admins would maintain. In case of Azure, we have control. This is what happens. All these, whatever we have seen, it is in private. Similarly, we'll see like how we can expose it to public in the next session. Okay. Sorry, I think we extended a bit, but yeah, I thought it's good if we complete this. And I will stop the recording.